Hello, listening people.
Yo.
You are listening to Spin Polish presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm Ryan Sliwinski.
I'm Bartek.
What's your last name, Bartek?
Piotr is my middle name.
That's not your last name.
The last one, Kasprzyszak.
And that is indeed Polish, is it not? Like
yes,
Sliwinski.
Like Sliwinski.
And you want to know there's a little coincidence about that. That is why, see that Polish thing? That's why we're called Spin Polish. Likingly because we're always spitting and we both happen to be Polish.
Yes, but your middle name's not Polish.
Joseph is not Polish.
You can make it Josef.
Yeah. Well, it's named after my Polish grandfather, you know. Usually that's the kind of tradition with middle names. A lot of the time is you get it from your grandparents.
Mine's my dada.
Oh, special. So does that mean if your middle name is your father's, is it his first name?
Yes.
If your middle name is your father's middle name too, does that make your middle name Junior?
What?
You know how
Bartek Piotr Jr. Kasprzyszak?
Yeah.
No?
No, why
Wouldn't
not?
that make you Joseph Jr.?
No, because he is my grandfather, not my father.
He's still your ancestor.
But does that mean you're a junior?
I assume
Wouldn't
so.
it mean you're the second? Isn't it like if,
What
say,
do you
Robert Downey
mean?
Jr.'s dad is Robert Downey Sr., that's why he's junior, but his grandfather, if he was called Robert Downey, he would just be Robert Downey. You know what I mean? Wouldn't he be the first?
On this show, we watch masterpieces that, have been forgotten, that need appreciation. They might be movies that have once upon a time had great reputation and now don't have it, or maybe they've just never had it.
Yeah.
And the purpose of our show is to give it, whether it's back or for the first time.
And sometimes we just really investigate the origins of juniors and seniors as well. But no, Bartek is right. On this show, we try and investigate those movies that have been forgotten. Not completely forgotten. We all kind of remember a lot of these ones, but for some reason, they just haven't been kept in the time since it has come out. Some of them could be flash in the pan successes. Some of them could just be ones that were well advertised, but just never loved. Bartek, what is the never-loved film that we're going to do today?
The movie today is Jonas Stepford.
Look, as much as we have talked about being Polish and my grandfather's Polish and all this, I do not speak Polish. It's a bit embarrassing. Bartek does this too. We've been doing this like 28, 29 episodes, and he does it every time, knowing that I do not speak Polish. So I don't know. What are we watching, Bartek?
I get excited every time you admit you don't speak Polish.
He loves my failures.
That's my secret. Jonas Stepford. That, my friends, is The Stepford Wives, 2004.
The Stepford Wives from 2004 with Nicole Kidman. Oh, It's that classic cinematic classic that hasn't been loved.
Yes, and it is The Stepford Wives. I'm not lying.
Okay. Was that your Christopher Walken impersonation? I don't know.
No, I'm just saying that it's the truth. I'm not lying.
But since you're not lying, let's tell some more truth. We don't always do these alone, do we, Bartek? Usually we get someone to help us, some brave soul, some knight of the round table to help us battle these films.
Yes. Since that was a question that was a yes or no answer, the answer is yes.
No, it could have been perhaps. But who is the magical guest that we got today? Who is the Merlin to our Arthur, the Lancelot to our Arthur? Just any of the knights or wizards to the round table. Who is the Excalibur to our Rock?
Well, the sword in the stone was technically Caliburn. Excalibur is the sword from the Lady of the Lake.
Oh, that's right. Who's our lady of our lake?
Caliburn. It's Excalibur. The Lady of the Lake. Yes. All right.
Who's our guest?
When you mentioned the Knights of the Round Table, you didn't mention Gawain.
Nope. I didn't mention Sir Galabout either, so let's go on.
Ryan, our guest today, and for all of you that have read the description and read the name, it's not pronounced Willie. It's Kaitlyn Wylie.
Thank you.
Kaitlyn Wylie Coyote herself.
Hi.
Hi, Kaitlyn.
Thank you. I really appreciate that you said Wylie. You made it clear it's pronounced Wylie, not Willie. I really
What kind of name is Wylie? Let me take a stab. Not Polish.
I think it
You don't
has
know?
some Scottish background or
Look, I don't
something.
want to spoil anything, but Kaitlyn, you don't look Scottish.
Oh,
By far. You are anything but Scottish in appearance.
I just dye my hair. I'm actually a ranger, but no. No, I think it's like somewhat Irish or Scottish or something. I've got
Celtic.
convict
So UK.
blood.
Oh,
me.
we got a criminal
Those.
here. Jeez.
Be afraid.
So,
The Celtics criminals?
no, she said convict blood. That was something.
Oh, I thought you said Celtic blood.
Celtic. No, I said that because she was just like stabbing around in the dark.
I have no idea.
So, this film, we've all watched this film, and I hope you guys listening have also watched The Stepford Wives, because it is an emotional piece. A remake with famous people in it, which is never, with that formula, usually successful. We can list all of these successes of remakes with famous people in it that
We
have been
should say
successful.
that it's a remake of an adaptation of a book.
That's
Yes, but in itself is not an adaptation of the book. It's an adaptation of an adaptation.
Adaptation of an
Yes,
adaptation of a book.
It is an adaptation of an adaptation. It is an emotional piece. So we all watched this. Just before diving into the actual film, do we have any personal history with this movie? Bartek, Kaitlyn, what was your relationship with this movie? Had this been the first time seeing it, or had you heard of it before? What?
Before I saw this movie for the first time, I'd heard of Stepford.
Just Stepford, not the wife?
Just Stepford.
What about you, Kaitlyn? What's your relationship with this?
Yeah, a lot of history. I actually just watched it this morning, so...
You've never seen it before?
No.
Had you heard of it before?
You know what? I think while I was watching it, I did have some really strange flashbacks, as if I had seen it when I was a child.
Yeah, those are called Vietnam flashbacks.
I honestly don't know, but it was just like, it felt strangely familiar.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman's career is that kind of thing where even if you haven't seen it, you're like, I feel like I have.
Yeah.
Because she does very similar things in her career.
I should say, because you've mentioned this movie multiple times over the course of the last
It is a
couple
great
of months.
film.
Yeah, I was like, based on the title alone, The Stepford Wives, I just thought, oh, it must be like some chick flick or something.
Yep. You weren't wrong. there are
Boy.
chicks in it.
Boy, was I not wrong, yeah.
My relationship with this movie was, it's one of those movies that you always catch on late night television, on like TV, like Channel 7 usually plays it, and it's one of those ones where I always miss the first half of it and have to piece it together. And then I have seen it before this. I've seen it in its entirety, and what a pleasure it is to have seen this movie in its entirety, because sometimes you see a movie and you're like, maybe like you keep missing bits of it. You're like, maybe it's just not supposed to be. But this movie is supposed to be. This is a film that is possibly one of the greatest. 2004 classic, The Stepford Wives. Don't get it confused with this 1975 one. So we are going to start this masterclass affair. Now I don't just hope, I know that you all have your copy of Stepford Wives ready and prepared with you. So get it ready, get it prepared, because we're going to start this now. We're going to start this now, Bartek. Hold on to your trousers. Kaitlyn, hold on to your Celtic background, because we're going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play. So this movie is, what genre or genres would you say it is?
I've read it be described as a black comedy thriller with some sci-fi elements.
Why are you laughing?
I just find that so strange.
Is it not a black comedy with sci-fi thriller elements?
Thriller?
Well, because it's a mystery, like intrigue, I guess. You don't know what, it's a thrill to find out what...
I imagine like psycho, like dun, dun, kind of.
Oh yeah,
stuff when you
yeah.
say
Well,
thriller.
there is kind of implied murder in this movie a lot.
I'm just saying that throughout this movie, I got a lot of
Chills.
my mind jumped a lot to
Tingles.
to Rosemary's Baby.
Oh yes, this movie also reminds me of Babies by Rosemary.
Look, I'm just gonna say, when I put this film on, I thought this was the strangest opening.
But then you realise it's a foreshadowing of everything that's going to happen in the movie. That it is actually a really intelligent opening that
It's
really
amazing,
leads you along what's going to happen.
It's a work of art.
Frank Oz is the director of this. Now, Kaitlyn, I don't know if you're familiar with Frank Oz, but he is the original voice of Miss Piggy. He is the other guy behind the Muppets. So Jim Henson and Frank Oz. Frank Oz also directed many classics such as the Little Shop of Horrors movie and in more recent body of work, Death at a Funeral, the British version, not the American one that's just starring every black comedian ever, and Peter Dinklage, oddly enough. But he was in both, actually. That's a funny thing. He's both in the British and the American one as the same character, which is a small gay dwarf. And of course, Frank Oz has appeared on this show before. He was in the movie Zathura, A Space Adventure.
Oh my god, is it?
As voice of a robot. The robot. And I'm glad that and of course, another starring role was in The Blues Brothers. He stars as a prison guard that gives John Belushi a used condom.
No way.
Yep, way.
Oh, Jesus.
Miss Piggy's done a lot.
Yes, one of the sole reasons for Nicole Kidman accepting this movie role was she said this would be the closest I would get working with Miss Piggy herself.
Really?
That's
Yeah,
true. That is true.
because he's the voice of Miss Piggy.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's a
Oh my
genuine
God.
reason. Here's a question: why has she not started any of the Muppet movies if that's her goal? Like, wouldn't it be great, because Nicole Kidman's Australian, you know, wouldn't it be great if she was just, like, here, wherever she grew up, and she's like, crikey, I want to be an actress to star with Miss Piggy. And, like, she's done everything. She even married Tom Cruise to get closer to Miss Piggy. Like, she could look back and go, I've starred with some of the greatest, you know? I was even in Australia and Moulin Rouge. I even worked with Stanley Kubrick, but none of them were as good as my possibility of working with Miss Piggy. So, Nicole Kidman is in this movie, of course. The lead actor, the lead male actor, we all know, he was the voice of Simba in The Lion King. Of course, that actor is our favourite actor, Jonathan Taylor-Thomas, of course, from the great film Lion King, and many others, such as Home Improvement.
Yep.
Yes, not to get him confused with the other voice of Simba, with his Matthew Broderick, who we all know from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but that's not the same guy in this movie.
Right.
We also know Matthew Broderick because he's been on the show before in
I'll Be Home for Christmas. Another great Disney movie. This is a Disney movie.
Is this? This is not a Disney
Yes,
movie.
it's a Disney
It
movie.
is.
It opened with Disney. It's a Disney movie. It is a lot. So, is she the best Disney princess?
Nicole Kidman is a Disney princess.
Yeah. Is she the best one?
Oh my god.
Take that, Elsa. Let it go. Let bullets fly at you.
Let it freaking go.
Look, I'm not saying anything's bad with having short hair as a woman, but she's got an incredibly large forehead, and short hair is not helping her.
Look,
Short
all
hair
the people
just
that have
exceed-
big foreheads, I understand.
It's your
this
friend
couple.
Victoria, yeah.
Ryan,
Victoria.
Ryan,
but seriously,
when
sorry,
you
Victoria.
when you watch this scene here, do you think that Nicole Kidman would have played a good Steve Jobs?
I think Nicole Kidman would have played, like, a brilliant Steve Jobs. And I think she would have made, like, you know how they have The Social Network? She should have just played Jesse Eisenberg's character, you know, Mark Zuckerberg. She could just... Wouldn't it be great if you remade all of these bio movies about geniuses and just Nicole Kidman played each one of them?
Every single one.
Every single genius, Nicole Kidman.
But it's all on the same stage and she has
Yeah.
to jump from each.
Yeah. And all she does is, like, put on a beard for Stephen Jobs.
Can't wait for her to be Albert Einstein.
Oh, my favourite.
She put on a German
I can't wait
accent
for her
and
to be
everything.
Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything.
Well, there's already the theory of it being the sequel.
No. They're remaking all these classics.
Oh, remaking, okay.
So it's like Nicole Kidman as Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything, and she's just like
She's
drooping her face, and she's just like,
wheels
I love you.
Maybe in a handful of
Ryan,
decades
oh,
they
no.
can like do a reboot. Like a not sort of sequel, not like kind of the
No,
Ghostbusters.
yeah, the Hawkins universe, like Marvel. You know, they can make a universe of genius films. So, this is a game show that she produces.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Kaitlyn, would you be on this game show?
Oh my god, you know what?
Would you be a contestant, or would you be one of the prostitutes?
Ooh, you know what? That's a really tough question.
It's hard. It's hard
'cause,
being
like-
in a relationship and being a prostitute.
Because no. the prostitutes that come out for the lady.
Yeah,
There are so many of them.
yeah, that's the joke. Like, he gets one mildly attractive woman, and she gets
I think
like
she's bathing.
It's a very...
she's okay, but in comparison to the dudes that she has, which, let's be all honest, they're all gods.
Actually.
It's very Leisure Suit
And also,
Larry.
she gets women too, which confuses me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying bisexuality confuses
Gotta
me.
dip your finger in every
So,
jar.
would you be in it, Kaitlyn?
I think, you know what? I would love to be the host.
The host.
Yeah, actually. Don't they just have to, stalk around and be like, oh, yes, and now
Yeah.
today this person's doing this person and so
Yes,
and so.
yes. Omar Hunks. Omar Hunks. That was the best part. I like the...
I would be the huge guy with the biceps. And
Oh, the one that they worry about when it's like later on Hank shoots them all and then like 4 of them are like in critical, one's on life support and the other it's like, oh no, it's like, oh no, he's fine. It's like, oh, that's okay. Hank, the actor, we all know Hank from
Where's he from?
School of Rock as Mr. Schneebly.
That's right.
I haven't seen School of Rock in a long
Well,
time.
he's his friend.
Oh, Bartek.
Ned, Ted,
Schneebly.
Ned,
No,
Schneebly.
it's Ned, I'm pretty sure.
Ned Schneebly. And here he is. It's what happened after School of Rock. That's
Schneebly.
Schneebly. It's like my wife left me, and Jack Black's my best friend, and now you ruined my marriage. I'm gonna shoot Nicole Kidman. Like, I really want this universe to happen.
Oh, God, Ryan.
So, there's many people in this. Christopher Walken. As Christopher Walken.
Yeah, seriously.
Every movie Christopher Walken is in, he's great. And this movie, he's a method actor. He really goes in depth into his roles. And spoiler alert, Christopher Walken actually was brave enough to reveal his true identity, which is a robot. Because Christopher Walken's not a human being. I think it's very obvious. In one of the reviews that I did not include,
Yes.
it was like, this review does, like, they're like, no spoilers in this review, and then afterwards it was like, warning, may contain spoilers. And then it was just like, the review goes, I'm not going to give anything away, except for the spoiler for Christopher Walken's dancing, and then later on in the review they have like in all caps, spoiler warning for Christopher Walken's dancing, you've been warned. And then they just say, he dances in this movie, spoiler over. And it's just like,
God,
the best.
dancing.
So Bartek,
That's me.
do you like Nicole Kidman as an actress?
Yeah, I've seen her in some things, and she always does a good job.
Good? What
Good
about this
job.
movie?
This movie, she doesn't do a good job, she does a great job.
Great. Good. You want to be great. Exactly. How do you think she handles this emotional scene? This is probably the most emotion we see from her until the climax of the movie.
That's right, yeah.
Not only is she emotional, but obviously this really early part of the movie is where the, I suppose, black comedy really
She is wearing black.
Yeah, the black comedy really shines. So I think she has not only great emotional acting here, she has great comedic timing.
I really love the direction of this movie, where look at her face, she's crazy. But I love how she's getting told that she's being let go, and the camera just holds on her face, and you just see her like slow as realizing, and then slowly
Having a mental frickin'
going through a
breakdown.
mental breakdown. But here it is, where it's just like slow, and then she's like, "Uh-oh, what's happened?" And it's like, "Here we go," and she goes through all the emotions, and then she realizes, "Conceal, don't feel."
Don't let them know.
Don't let them know. She learned it from Leonardo DiCaprio. Because look at her go, and then she's getting red-eyed. It's hard because she's a ginger already, so everything's red.
She's grimacing, she's smiling.
She's like a,
Twitchy eye, twitchy.
Frank Oz is really good at directing Muppets and people.
So was that a Muppet or was that Nicole Kidman?
We will never know.
Her hair is hers, but the rest is a Muppet. Kaitlyn's just loving the hair jokes. I like the woman. My favorite character for first half of the movie was this one woman who walks up to her and is like, "It's so unfair." Like
She just like shits her pants. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet Jesus, everybody knows.
This one woman, here she is. She's like,
chases
uh-oh.
after her.
We see the back of her head mainly, and she's like, "Oh no!" And just like the look on the Nicole Kidman's a very tall woman, isn't she?
Yes.
She
Yes.
looks like she could eat that woman.
One gulp.
One gulp, unhinged
Gone.
jaws.
Where did she go?
Eat in both, any sense of the word eat you can choose.
Oh dear.
So Bartek, when
You're trying to say that she's from the island of Lesbos?
yeah,
Okay.
There's such a
So-
place. Wow.
yes, there is an island, and you
It's
know what the
in-
citizens of Lesbos are called? You want to give a guess?
I don't know, Ryan. Give it to me. Go.
Lesbians.
Oh my god. Sounds like a fantastic place.
Yep,
Gonna
it's
fly
full
there.
of lesbians.
It's
What else
in
is better?
it's in the country of Greece. Greece.
Greece
Yeah, not to be confused with the movie with Jon Travolta.
and Olivia
Damn.
Newton-John.
Oh, Olivia.
Here he is, Jonathan Taylor-Thomas, with his dead-eyed stare. Fun fact, Jonathan Taylor-Thomas has not killed people.
Oh, really?
That's true. So, Bartek,
Yeah,
you when you watched this,
yeah.
how did you know it was going to happen?
That picture.
Did you know it was going to happen? Did you have an inkling, and did it surprise you where the film goes?
You mean with the whole
With the whole
whole
thing?
plot of the Stepford experiment?
Yeah.
No, I did not know where it was going. I walked into it blind. You know, again, I walked into it thinking, oh, it's going to be a chick flick. But then, you know, the whole Steve Jobs thing was like, this is a black comedy of sorts of reality TV. And as it kept going, he's saying, you know, oh, I was only the vice president or something like that. Like, this is a wacky, like, comedy kind of thing going on.
Depressing drama.
Yeah,
What?
so it surprised me, and I was really into it.
That's good. What about you, Kaitlyn? You walked in blind, I imagine.
Completely blind. I had no idea what I was going to experience and feel.
Air 5.
Yeah,
Air
Air 5.
5.
Ooh,
Dude.
yeah.
So everyone walked into this blind except for me, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I've walked into this with my eyes wide open, and
You ableist.
the amount. Yep. Take that, blind people. Come find me if you can see me.
That kid has a Game Boy Advance SP.
Terrible.
He might be playing Scooby-Doo too.
So you might enjoy this scene because it's one of the 2 scenes with the kids we have in the movie.
We never get to we
they're-
never get to meet the kids.
No, they're in a
We
few
kind of.
scenes.
I said 2,
They're in more than 2.
Not properly.
not properly. They
Yeah.
get
Not properly,
kidnapped
but
at the end.
They're in more than 2 scenes.
They get kidnapped at the end. Yeah, I like how the foreshadowing. This guy, you don't even see his face properly. Ooh, what does that mean? Symbolism. So none of us have. What?
Oh, good.
Symbolism?
It's funny because Jonathan
Oh
Taylor
my
Thomas did the voice. So, in this movie, lots of interesting things happen once they get to Stepford. What was one of your favorite quirky things about this town, or about the people within? What did you enjoy? Was there a specific moment of weird, kind of surreal quirkiness? Because there's lots of it. She's been electroshocked. That's like the best part too.
When they're in the book club scene,
Yes.
that scene was quite
Where
quirky.
they're like, we don't read books, we read like these magazine books that teach you how to do great Christmas decorations.
Well, yeah, and obviously I could see the joke coming that like she read, Joanna read this, you know, book that's intellectual of sorts, and then they were coming up like, we read this, you know, homemaker book, and then it got to the scene where they're like singing together.
Yeah. And
That was
you know,
a good one.
that had one of my favorite moments, which is Roger, my favorite character of the movie,
Yeah.
the gay guy,
Got
is
all
the only one out of the 3 of them that's actually getting into their stuff, like
Yeah.
genuinely. Like he got into the Soga dance, and when they introduced this book, he was like, "Oh yeah, awesome!" Like he was just so into.
And they're all like shaking head no.
I love one of my favorite bits of weirdness in this movie is there's a shot of Jonathan
You
Taylor
think the
Thomas.
Simba's mixed up, right?
Simba's driving his car. I think he's driving it to the boys' club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll come up shortly, where they just cut from one thing and then to him, and he's just got this weird face, and it's one of those things where it's like, what was the direction here? And it just makes me laugh immensely, because he's a very talented actor, but he's one of those actors where you can tell he's dead on the inside.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, I really like this part of the movie where
They have a robot dog?
what the anyway, not about the robot dog, but there's a button on the fridge that flushes all of the toilets, as if they just go around using toilets without flushing, and then they come to the fridge and flush all the toilets in the house.
It's also, it tests your poop and everything too, like, and your urine.
There's a lot
So
of
goodbye,
interesting-
kids.
Like, what family doesn't go around
Evidently,
that doesn't
evidently
flush
one's from the 50s.
that don't flush their toilets and wait to
I
flush
also
out the
like
fridge.
every now and then they cut. This dog looks like if Lindt chocolate made dogs instead of rabbits.
Bunnies, right?
Yeah, right? Am I right, Bartek?
I don't know about Lindt, because Lindt, that's like kind of high quality.
Yeah, but no, that's what I mean. But it looks like, you know how, like, the shape of it, not the color, but, like, the general design of this robot dog looks like how Lindt chocolate does their chocolate bunnies.
It's like if the $2
Okay, yeah,
shop wanted
chocolate
to-
bunnies, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, that's if they did chocolate dogs, it would look like that dog.
Oh, look at JTT.
Oh, he's in the dark, brooding.
Freaking terrifying.
And he's thinking, she's too hot for me. Here's the funny thing. JTT, I don't know who he's married to, but Matthew Broderick, the other voice of Simba, is married to Sarah Jessica Parker from Sex and the City.
Wow.
And isn't it weird that in every movie he's been in, like, he gets all these really attractive women that are far out of his league, and then in real life he's married to a horse?
Oh my...
Except for Sarah Jessica Parker, was really attractive in Hocus Pocus, which also stars Bette Midler, who's in this movie.
I love Bette Midler.
Oh!
Bette Midler was a tie for a while of my favorite character because she's
She's
like,
pretty great.
you know what
I
made
love
her my
her.
favorite bit? Where she's like, how about I grab the pine cones and write in 15 feet letters, Big Jew? And they were just like, that's a great idea. And they clapped it.
In the scene where Bette Midler's husband first appears,
Jon Lovitz.
yeah, he was pretty great.
Jon Lovitz is Bette
God.
Midler's husband, and he is, of course...
In real life?
No, in this movie.
Oh, okay.
You know Jon
Okay.
Lovitz, though?
Yeah, the guy that plays the husband?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who he is, though, as an actor.
Not
He
particularly.
is Jay Sherman in The Simpsons, the film critic, the one who's like, is.Thanks.
Oh my god.
More
And the
importantly,
voice of Artie Ziff.
More importantly, he's been on the show before.
Yes, he has.
Learning so much.
You're learning a lot. So, we haven't even talked about the Queen Bee herself, which I think in every single review that I looked at that was positive on IMDb, everyone said Glenn Close is the best thing in this movie, and she's really trying. The queen of this town, like her, they're just like, she's the best.
She's really trying.
No, note, the one black person that's a member of this town is here, and then later on, they make a comment where it's like, where's all the black people, and where's all the Native Americans, where's all the Asians?
We're all the minorities. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, Bette Midler, that's the first thing you hear from her, is like, where's all these people?
Yeah, yeah.
So watch this scene, I wonder what happened to this black lady. I guess she got killed.
Oh, probably.
I don't know how
Would not be surprised.
science works. You know, there's another great thing that's weird in this movie. Sometimes they'll just cut to the women and they'll just be smiling with like little emotion in their face.
They're all murderers. They all look like they're gonna kill somebody.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Are the smiles like real? Are they really feeling, or are they just projecting?
Projecting,
For
conceal,
sure.
don't feel. Mm-hmm. I love how she's like, good heavens, we can't have women that don't wear barely any makeup and have unwashed hair. Oh no!
Oh no, she's wearing black. Oh no.
As a woman, Kaitlyn,
Yes.
not me, I'm not a woman. How do you feel about the comment that this movie makes on gender equality and sexism and misogyny? How did you feel watching this as a woman? Because it was cringeworthy as a guy. In a good way, that's a good thing.
It was. Look. Was
Washing
I,
machine.
Was
Woo.
I somewhat offended? Yes.
But I
no.
think that's the movie's intent, is to
It was
offend.
pretty like it's just ludicrous, and to think that women were like this at some stage, like I imagine like the 50s.
There it is. Look at his face. He had like death in his eyes, where it's just like, look, what's his direction here? It's like, now JTT, look angry when you're driving through this town.
Notice a thing to your left.
Yeah. So you were offended a little, and women used to be like this. That perplexes you.
Well, I was just kidding. I wasn't really offended. It just made me, I was perplexed. I was like, what the
Oh,
shit is going on? Like, with the whole exercise thing. Actually, you know what? It reminded me of this video that I watched on my Facebook feed one day. And it was just a bunch of these 50s women in like these sort of active wear, sort of skimpy clothes.
Yeah.
And they were just getting rubbed by these machines
Oh
like,
yeah,
all over their body.
The belt.
And
one,
they just didn't move. They were just
Yeah.
getting jiggled around.
Because the idea was it would burn
that
off
jiggle belt
fat.
thing.
Yeah, it would burn off fat.
It would just jiggle the fats away.
Yep.
And it just reminded me of that scene. I was just like,
that reminds me of many
happened.
scenes.
That was in Leisure Suit Larry 6 as well.
Oh, right.
So many Leisure Suit Larrys.
This movie has interesting color scheme. It's bright and colorful while the city was like dark and grey.
Well,
and
I'd say that's a sort of 50s kind of vibe.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Very, and Tim Burton was originally going to direct this.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course, who else would do it?
Freaking love Burton.
Yum, Nicole Kidman, keep bending.
Earlier you asked
Ryan.
me what.
What? She has barely any breasts to look at, and that was like the one shot where you could see some of what she barely has.
So earlier we were talking about what we'd classify this. I forgot to say I also read that it was satire.
Of course, it's satirizing misogyny. The best kind of satirization is to be a misogynist, you have to satirize it, and to satirize it, you have to be it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So Tim Burton was going to direct this originally. This could have been in the same universe as Edward Scissorhands. How do you feel, guys?
Oh my god, I love Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, it's got the same color scheme.
I liked Ed Wood.
Yeah, I liked Ed Wood as
I
well.
haven't seen that.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
And talking about Wood, someone who gives me some, Bette Midler.
Freaking love you, Bette Midler. So
She
good.
is possibly the best actress that's here in
Actually,
this movie.
seriously.
She's not acting though. She's just like, okay, I'm Bette Midler and I'm cranky. I write books apparently, and I don't clean. Right, and I'm married to Jon Lovitz. What else is new?
God, she's great.
Oh, here he is.
Oh, delicious.
So Bartek,
Yeah.
you remind me of Jon Lovitz
Well, like I said, in this scene specifically, he is one of my favorites.
because he's wearing a hat that's slightly too small for his head.
I got a big head, so I don't really wear hats.
Oh, poor Bartek, he's got a big old head. He can't do nothing about it.
I feel your feels.
Nicole Kidman has a big head as well. Maybe
Does
it's
she?
just look at it.
I also
It's sort of just a bit oblong, isn't it?
It's
It's good though.
It's
alright.
peculiar. Here's the best character for me, really.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's Roger.
Roger. He plays gay people in most things. He was the gay guy in Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, oh, okay. Look, I
Yeah.
didn't watch Desperate Housewives, but
Well,
he's fantastic.
you mustn't have been desperate enough.
Unlike Ryan.
What? There's attractive women in Desperate Housewives. You got to keep on there. Eva Longoria.
Yeah,
Woo!
she's amazing.
She's no Terry Hatcher. And whatever the redhead one's called. Well,
Oh, I don't even know.
there's a blonde one if you're interested.
Oh, God, all colours of the spectrum.
No, that's it. There's no other colours. They don't
No.
have... That's it.
No
There was a redhead,
purple?
blonde, and a brunette. That's about it.
Yeah, two brunettes.
Oh, two brunettes. Oh.
Because Eva Longoria.
But she's short, and the other one's tall.
Yeah,
There we
but
go,
she's
that
brunette.
works
I love... She's short, so that feeds you. So, guys,
Yes.
this movie was 2004?
12 years ago.
Wow.
12 years ago. Jon Lovitz dancing. What were you guys doing in 2004, and why didn't you watch it when it came out?
God.
I was in school, year 5.
Jeez. Why won't... This is a kid-friendly movie, sort of. With all the horror and sex.
I would have really liked the scene where you can hear the character named Sarah making all those sex noises.
Oh my God. That made
That's
me
the
laugh.
that's the exact thing she said. Actually, it was, oh my god.
God, what a laugh.
She even said, "You're my king" at one point.
You
Like,
are the one.
you are the king.
one. Oh, hilarious.
Is that how it happens, Kaitlyn?
Absolutely.
That's exactly it, right? Like, we should all
Gotta
know.
let it go.
Glenn Close just said, "Please your cowboy with your feet."
Please. Oh wow.
That's like a
Slight-
foot job joke.
Yeah, slight
I
fetish.
knew Glenn Close was into foot jobs. If I had to guess if anyone in this movie... Okay, if you had to take a character and guess if they're into foot jobs, it's probably Jon Lovitz and Glenn Close.
Well, to be fair, every character in this movie, while they are relatively crazy, they're all into humans.
Yeah, except for... Well, yeah.
Do you know that though, Bartek?
So,
I can make an educated guess.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. So this is the
Do-si-do.
first sign that something's really wrong here. Like,
I think this is the point where I went, yep, they're all robots.
oh,
that was me.
But are they robots?
Well, we're led
That's
to
the
believe
question.
that with certain things like, the ATM girl and the suddenly expanding
yeah.
breasts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, well, Kaitlyn, don't all breasts just suddenly expand if you just will them to?
If only. Yeah, man.
Talking
like...
about suddenly expanding
Hey, it's Donald
something,
Trump.
Christopher Walken, the legend himself,
They give him such a plain Jane name, don't they?
Mike.
Yeah.
You
Well,
remember what it's short
I mean,
for?
like, he's...
Mike. It's short for Microsoft.
Yeah, and then even after that, we find out it's not his real name, apparently.
Yeah, he's like, it's not even my name. It's like, what is his name? I don't have one. Robots have no names. I just snap heads. Rawr! Rawr!
Savagery.
I'm a robot walking. Spoiler alert, he's not a man. He's a robot.
and he dances.
I often wonder what Walken is like. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a person. Like, he's an
way.
abnormal person. And I imagine that, like, when he gets a script, he reads it, learns it, and just goes, all right, now I'm just going to forget character and be me in a role. Like, can you
And
imagine?
it works! It works!
I imagine him teaching you how to shave would be the weirdest. I mean, because he's not a dad. He has no kids, I don't think. Could you imagine him as your dad, Bartek, and he's like teaching you how to shave, and he's like, right, now, little Bartek, the first thing you gotta do is grab the sour cream from the fridge.
Why sour cream?
Don't question me, son. now put the sour cream on your beard, your face, rub it all over. Maybe add some paprika to it if you want. I recommend some lemon pepper. It's nice, smooth, fresh. Then you grab a knife. Now, not a sharp knife, of course. You grab a butter knife. You grab a knife sharpener, then sharpen that butter knife until it's nice and smooth, sharp, clean. Put the knife in ice cold water. Leave it there for a while.
Ryan, come back to us.
No.
Where have you gone?
Well, and the big twist, of course, is that I'm 23 in this scenario.
No, I like this idea that he's telling you, like...
Okay, I know
He's telling you, like, then put the oven on, stick your beard in there for 45 minutes, get it nice and toasty. Like, then you, like, I like the idea that you're like, well, Papa Walken, putting metal in ice cold water is bad. It's like, hey, who's the Papa Walken here? Shut your little mouth.
And of course, the next twist is that I'm not even related to him. It's like, what are you doing in my house?
Where's my dad? He's like, I'm Mike. And then I like the idea that you put your beard and like you put your face in the oven for 45 minutes, nice and crispy, and then you're just like, what now? It's like, you thought the cold knife was silly. What's gonna soothe your burns now? And you're just like, and that's how you shave with ice cold blade, like an ice cold blade. Get the seared hair off your face.
So
Oh my god, so obscure.
Don't even get him on the birds and the bees conversation.
Oh no.
I know I do this very often on the show,
Yeah.
but I've noticed the subtitles in this movie.
Oh, great.
Our version, there are no exclamation marks, there are just lowercase L's.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Maybe you're wrong.
Well, let's look for an exclamation mark. That'll be our little scavenger hunt.
Question.
Yes.
Is it exclamation mark or exclamation point?
I've always said exclamation point.
I've always said mark.
Oh, Civil War!
Dun,
Whose
dun,
team
dun.
are you on? Mark
dun.
or point? Dun dun dun. I'm on JTT. Not sexually on him, but like emotionally involved with him.
We the Mark Confederates decree that it is the mark, not the point.
Point!
As a neutral bystander, I think it's exclamation Walken. Ow!
We declare war with you Walken folk.
I love that exclamation Walken. Can we do that?
Christopher Walken, Christopher Sitten, Christopher Eaton. Fun fact about this movie was the director and a lot of the stars are ashamed and embarrassed of this project, unfortunately.
Why?
It just didn't go very well. Lots of studio interference. And I don't know
does
why
that
I'm saying it
mean?
like Walken. I'm still getting detox from Walken. Studio interference, so they wanted edit the film in certain ways and
Test audiences, you haven't brought that
test
up.
audiences and all this, make it have a happy ending instead of a drab ending, all that. And you know, Nicole Kidman is ashamed of this movie. She doesn't want to talk about it. Unfortunate, because her hair is amazing. And,
She's a goddess.
You know, JTT, no comment. Christopher Walken, no comment. But,
Hey.
like, Bette Midler brought a lot of stress from her other projects she was doing heaps on, brought stress onto this project, made it really tense to work with. But apparently, you know, Christopher Walken, it just said in the trivia, Frank Oz, the director, had to have some words with Walken, and it didn't say in regards to what. And I just don't know, because according to, like, everybody that works with him, he's, like, one of the most professional guys. He just goes in, does his stuff, does professional work, and then goes out. So I wonder what about this film made him just go, screw it, I'm gonna be bad boy Walken, and just be like, you know, I want to know what the director talked to him about. Like, what did he walk over and goes, now, Christopher, you've got to stop dancing in every single scene that we're doing. He's like, but I feel the dance. It's like, I am the Fat Boy Slim's weapon of choice. And then, you know, like, I want to know what happened on the behind the scenes. Now,
So
this
interesting.
This movie, Bartek, I think out of all of them would be interesting to see, like, to be in the behind the scenes process, because there is so many troubles with this movie. There is so many tensions. Like, the director actually said, I fucked up on this one.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Frank Oz is the most
Gung.
vocal about it, but it's not out of bitterness. It's more out of, like, he made mistakes. He mentioned something like he shouldn't have tried to appease the test audiences so much. He should have just gone with his gut instinct, I believe, was something he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, you know, maybe a lot of time, Kaitlyn, we try and find out why is this unappreciated. And maybe that's why. The director himself probably sank this movie because he didn't feel like it was his best product, you know? But that's unfortunate because it is a good product. It is an unappreciated one. I mean, Roger here. There's a point where Roger, I think it's coming up soon, where he hears the sex and wants to run up there and join them to get some.
This is the
Yeah.
scene.
Even though he is, in fact, homosexual.
Well, her reaction to a man's work.
I guess. So he's like, I want some of that orgasmic love.
That's right, yes.
Despite Max in a relationship.
That's right, he's in a relationship and he's like, fuck it, I'm in.
Hey, you don't know how open it is.
Yeah.
You guys
Oh,
are
that's
living
very
in the
true.
past, while these guys, this town is literally living in the past.
This town is recreating the past.
I can't believe they just broke in and they're just like roaming around the house.
Well, did you hear the comment they made when the door was open?
It's like, oh, unlocked. So trusting. Kaitlyn, if I went to your house right now,
Yes.
would I be able to open it up?
Yes, absolutely.
Where do you live?
I live. Oh my god! I just saw the exclamation point.
No, you didn't.
The-
You saw L's. You saw L's.
The L's. I saw the
You
L's.
saw an exclamation walking. Get it right.
No, she didn't. She saw a lowercase L.
No, that's an exclamation walking. Get it right.
There's a lowercase L in the name Walken, so relax your Dax, Ryan.
I like how there's no subtitles for her screaming in an orgasm.
It's just. It would just say, oh.
no. It would just be high pitched screaming. Like, wouldn't it be great?
What
You
if
know
it
what's
just
weird?
says orgasm?
You know what's weird about this movie? This is before dubstep.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Skrillex was just a baba.
Could you imagine if this movie was made now and her screams would be dubstep noise
Yeah,
because she's a
seriously.
robot? So she'd be like, "Ah!"
Anyway, I found it so weird that they just left the remote on the floor.
No, didn't he run out with it? I thought he
Hey?
ran out with the. Maybe I was wrong.
Like they've just run away from the robot coming down the
Look,
stairs.
look, he's got it in his hand still.
Oh,
He's got it in his hand.
yeah,
he
we
still
don't
has it in
see.
his hand. He's taken the remote control, or has he?
No, Kaitlyn was saying that they
Look, he's
found
still.
it.
No,
just-
he
They
doesn't
found
have
it on the floor.
Oh yeah, the husband.
You know,
The husband. Well,
They've
maybe he was like, "Yeah, now we're having sex. I don't need it. Just throw it on the
just
floor."
gonna throw it on the floor.
Well, to be fair, we learn later on that all the we know that all the husbands are, to use the Australian term, they're all kind of dags.
Losers.
Losers, dags, geeky guys.
I
Just a
like.
bunch of twats.
I like
really.
she's watching Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, in the background, and that Birdman is voiced by none other than Gary Cole, who is in I'll Be Home for Christmas with Matthew Broderick. Again,
Boom.
With another voice of Simba.
Cinder! My favourite Lion King character, Cinder, the brother of Simba. Uncle Scar's favourite cub. I've always liked you, Cinder.
Cinder.
Be prepared, Cinder.
He just cleans around Pride Rock.
I just can't wait for my brother to be king.
Yep, pretty much. His song is I can't wait for my bro to be. I can't wait to usurp my bro. It's like a retelling. So, did you guys actually have a specific favorite character though? Ooh, tension.
I really like Bette Midler in this. I thought she was great.
Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, Bobby.
Roberta.
Roberta.
Yeah.
And what about you, Bartek?
Well, Jon Lovitz in that fair scene was pretty great. I feel like his character doesn't really have that kind of goofiness. Like you said earlier, he was very much like me. You said I don't feel like he is me throughout the whole film.
Well, no, because you're you and he is he.
It's like a paradox of the actor.
Oh, don't get me started about the paradox of the
baby
actor.
Jesus. Oh no. Any Deacon fans out there, you'd understand.
So,
Well, from our time in the course.
Yeah, that's right.
Nicole Kidman goes from being black to pink. Not in skin color, she's always pink.
Clothing.
But clothing.
That's right.
Because she's like the only one who's trying to properly adapt. Like, she bakes so many cupcakes.
Actually, you know what? I think her change within the film, it's too...
Good?
It's too,
It's too amazing.
It's too... it's too full on. Like, there's no sort of
Well,
process.
that's the thing, though. Think about her character. She's full on. She goes from one extreme to the other. She doesn't do anything like a normal person would. That's her problem. That's what's
right.
breaking up the marriage.
It's very
She goes
pragmatic,
gung-ho or no-ho.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, true.
Yes,
Truth.
and on the topic of it being a black comedy, you know,
Yes.
like she's here because she wants to, and her husband, they want her to better herself. So, you know, it's good that she's trying to, you know, be better, but on the other hand, we realize as an audience that this is kind of, you know, the thriller film, like something's happening to the women in this town. So while we're like, yes, it's good that you're bettering yourself and you're enthusiastic, but you're also playing into their hands, and we can't be too happy about that. So it really plays with your emotions.
Yeah. Is there anything sexy about flabby white men on leather chairs drinking scotch, smoking cigars? Because apparently it's like the male dream, apparently. And they all play like Xbox.
Cigars.
This movie really lacks certain things. Oh, jeez. They're just smiling. And Bette Midler's like, I'm trying.
Well, they're doing what's called the Stepford smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's lots of Stepford things.
Yeah, like they don't smile with their eyes.
Oh, there was a thing,
terrifying.
Keep Stepford Strong, later
That's
on,
right,
and it just
yeah.
reminded me of X-Men, Mutant and Proud.
Can't stop Stepford.
You can't stop Stepford. Jeez,
So
it scares me.
do we all know about
Lyndon Johnson? Yeah.
Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ?
LBJ?
No, but that's not what I was going
All
to
the way
say.
with LBJ?
About what the original Stepford Wives film changed from the novel, the books, I mean.
I haven't seen it.
No,
Go for it.
I know the endings of the two films are different.
Well, I'm just saying.
Really?
Yes, in the ending of the original film, it ends with, I do believe, her being a robot.
Oh, I knew it.
Like
I was half
her
expecting
shopping carting.
Well, I mean, more Ryan. We seem to have been reading from like the same trivia, so I figure you would have known that like in the books, apparently it wasn't that they were becoming 50s housewives.
No.
They were becoming not so much the perfect wife kind of characters, but like the really. Not dominatrix characters, but the really like sexual characters.
Oh yes,
Like nymphs, like women that
Women
would
with
be really good
whips.
at sex or something like that.
Wait, so that's in the book?
Apparently, in the books, it was
Well,
changed
this,
for the
this
movie.
film does it too, though. The implication that they're all very sexual.
Well, yeah, I know because of the controller, but apparently, yeah, it wasn't so much the 50s housewife things in the original source
It
material.
The book was written in 1956.
Yeah, I know, and it was changed in the 75 film, and apparently that really didn't really sit well with the author when he saw the movie.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just listening to the bigotry of Jews here. Spill a big Jew. Oh,
What
and
about
I just...
the pine cone and the vibrator?
The pine cone on the vibrator.
Yeah, so funny. Love it.
Fun times.
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody's had fun times with pine cones on vibrators.
You gotta love those pine cones.
Do you?
Caitlin.
Maybe
yeah.
that was in the book. Maybe it was a reference to the book. We haven't read the books.
Pine cone love.
Apparently there are multiple books.
Yeah.
The Stepford pine cones. Pine
And
cone
all-
baby Jesus.
Yes. No, so in the book, they're not 50s wives. They're all crazy,
Sexual.
sex-driven.
So the pine cone comment wouldn't have been out of place.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, it's more like,
So weird.
not so much that they're meant to be like perfect wives or slaves, like they're meant to be the
Savage.
women that will be really good for the husbands, like to have sex with.
Yeah, what a
basically.
great image.
Sexual objects.
Great image of Bette Midler giving no fucks with antlers on her head, with like baubles hanging up
Yeah, I
on her.
love that. It's like our classic.
So
bit.
here's, I think, this movie is the greatest movie of all time, but it does have problems, does have errors, have faults. And I
As
think it
every great
mainly
movie.
falls with JTT's shoulders. Not the acting, but his story. There's things I don't understand, such as, if you came into this town that has robot technology,
Yes.
you would react like, wow, or what, or any reaction.
Or just like.
But JTT just decides not to react with any emotion.
No, zero.
And here's the thing. Do they brief you on the robot things? Because Jon Lovitz has been in the town just as long as, or just a bit longer than JTT, and he's already aware right now at this point about the robots. So, do they brief him about the robots?
I feel like
what happens?
I feel like Jon Lovitz's character is
Babel.
more, what's that word? Not influential.
Austere.
It's you're like easily influenced. What's that
Yeah.
word I'm thinking of?
Easily, no.
I'll think of it later. But
He's a sheep.
yeah, he's
Right.
easily influenced, and I feel like maybe they went for him first because he was like an easier target. Maybe.
Yeah, yes, and then the gay guy was surprisingly on board with this as well, because they convert Roger first.
That's right, yeah.
And then Bette Midler, which I find surprising, because wouldn't you want to get rid of Bette Midler first, because she's like the most loudmouth annoying?
Yeah,
like,
because she's the one that doesn't
pragmatic
fit in
one.
the most.
Yeah, the gay guy actually tried to accept the lifestyle, as did Nicole Kidman, but that just, I guess, trying wasn't enough. Not trying's enough. Because, I like how, when I watched this, I just wrote, what, she gives him 20s all in $1 bills?
I said the same
and then
thing.
Matthew
I thought the
Broderick's
same
reaction is,
She gives
she gives singles.
Yeah.
Like a stripper. You give her singles.
I also noticed that that's a lot of notes for just a 20.
And I
Like,
just
she
love...
could just dispense one note.
Christopher Walken is looking at him like, I'm a lion and you're a sheep. You better obey or chomp. And then he's like, good sheep, good. I like at the end.
That's not what I got from it.
You
It's like
know
seeing unfortunately, yeah, singles.
No, I looked at it like, good, he's accepted the situation.
No, I looked at it as yes, unfortunately, yes.
What do you reckon?
Why are we
they-
arguing over this, Ryan? What's with this no business? What's wrong with you?
I think
I was
Caitlin's
giving
got-
my take, you have to dismiss it?
No, Bartek.
I was just gonna say, they all stood up when he receives the
$20.
$20
Yeah, well, yeah.
to see how he would react.
Yeah, I
And
would.
they go, oh yeah, he's reacted well to this, so he can join our little boys club. But if he didn't react well, what do you think would have happened?
Robot Jonathan Taylor Thomas. They have male versions of these things as well. Here's something I love. The snot butt. The characterization here is great. I don't know if you guys notice this, but I'm really into little things. The kid gave him that soccer ball or whatever it is, and he's like, he was going to have a game with him. And then when Jonathan Taylor Thomas here goes all manly, and he's like, I'll be home when I'll be home, okay, honey? Blah, blah. He gets into the car, and they speed off, and he just, fucking throws the ball away. I found that very telling of his character, because the real story is...
Fuck you, son.
Look at this. And he's got cupcake in one hand. Look at this. You'll see it. And then he goes, fuck that ball! He just goes, fuck off! I think what I like about this movie, I think a strength, is the two stories going on, but the B story, which is Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Simba, is the lesser one. They don't even really focus on it, but it's there, which is that story is the deterioration of his trust in her and the marriage, and him kind of becoming more swayed by the masculinity of the society and becoming more and more misogynistic and blah, 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 and less trusting. And her story, which is the main one, which is the intrigue of what's happening in this town. I like it. I think those two things go corresponding.
And I mentioned this earlier, but I drew a lot of parallels between this movie and Rosemary's Baby, and it was largely on that. And I won't spoil Rosemary's Baby because that's a movie you don't need to spoil. You don't want spoilers.
Spoiler alert! It's Rosemary's Baby.
No, but in that.
God!
But who's the dad?
But in that movie, Rosemary and her husband clearly walk into this world coming from the same place, but as the movie goes on, she starts being suspicious of everyone, including her spouse that she's supposed to have this trust with.
Typical. Now, Kaitlyn, do you have trust issues with spouses?
No, I'm cool.
Have you had a spouse?
Yeah. Oh wait, you know what? I lie. I have in the past, but my current one, we're A-okay.
A-okay?
Yeah.
You don't know. He could be planning to turn you into a robot.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Now, here's something I would like to ask your perspective on the female perspective. If you had a spouse that you had been married to for a very long time, have had kids to, and you quit your career and moved to a small country town and then was turned into a robot, and then you got turned back into a human again, would you still be married to this man who turned you into a robot?
No.
But
Fuck
they all
that.
at the end they're all still married to their husbands.
Really? I did not catch on to
Yeah,
that.
because it's like what happened to the husbands? Like, oh, they're still in Stepford, and then they're all shopping.
Their wives are punishing them, not leaving them.
That's right.
And they're like,
oh my God,
we better
they
hurry up,
still
or
stayed.
they're gonna get angry at us. And they're like, no talking, stop.
Because remember, they are submissive, and once they don't have that control over them, then they're being forced back into the submissive nature.
I would personally kill them.
I would murder all them bitches.
So
well, that's because you're boring and predictable, right?
So here's a question. No, this is a shut up, Bartek. Here's a question. Here's a question I'm really, really pondering. This is like the big one for me. I don't know if you had a big question in your brains or philosophy about this.
Lay it on us.
They're robots, yeah?
Yes.
Well, we're led to believe that.
So later on in the movie, they explain the process, kinda, where they plant microchips in their brain that makes them go blur, right?
Yes.
But then they have these robotic shells of their bodies, right, with no eyes.
You know what? Yeah, that
and no hair, right?
So confusing.
So do they put their brains and eyes into these shells, right? So then what happens to your bodies? So are they dead? Like they have no organs, they're gone, they're disposed of?
So unclear.
So at the end of the movie, when Bette Midler and Roger and every other woman gets deactivated from the 50s programming, does that mean they have invincible robot bodies for the rest of their lives?
Oh, snap. I did not think about that.
Well,
That's so cool.
it's just chips on their brains.
No, it isn't, because the woman before, she was spinning like a robot and like she had a robot body.
Yeah,
I think Nicole Kidman and Roger, they both look at their robot bodies that their brains are going to be put into.
Do you remember the slab?
Okay, hold on, because this is where we're getting into the really tricky territory, where we do say, yes, it exists in this film that there is an ATM woman and there is clearly a robotic woman, but we're also have to acknowledge the fact that the director has pointed out that it is a plot hole that exists.
Yeah.
So what?
Is it? But that's death of. We're gonna go with death of the author though.
Sorry, what does that mean?
Death of the author, which means anything that the author, the creator, has said, said outside of the actual text doesn't recount. So Edgar Allan Poe could come up right now and just go, Raven's not about this, it's just about how I love ravens.
Well, true, but
that doesn't matter.
Ravens.
But it's also a case where it says the women are robots, and then at the end it says there are no robots.
What if there's just two different
It's a
types?
contradiction that exists.
But here's the thing, her technology, she has a robot husband.
Yeah.
So robots exist.
Yeah.
And they malfunction like robots. Like, I'm just saying, it's very confusing because Bette Midler puts a hand on a fire and it doesn't burn her, doesn't affect her, so she has a robot body.
Well, she doesn't react to it.
No, but her skin is fine. Like, that's the thing. Like, she's standing there, it just doesn't react.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. In my understanding, they're in robot bodies because they also get physically altered. They're in robot bodies, but their brains with microchips in their eyes are inserted into these shells. So at the end of the movie, their real bodies are gone. They're dead. They're destroyed. Whatever. So at the end, Bette Midler, and Roger could easily take over the world with their robot bodies.
Okay,
Which is true because Roger is a
stretch.
Senator. He's a senator.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh no, he got rid of his Viggo Mortensen shirt.
I guess this one would have benefited more if we hadn't done the research, because it's really hard to separate the comments from the author.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna go with what the film gave me, because the director could have said, "Yeah, Roger, he's not gay," and I'll be like, "Oh well, the film says." Now, don't you like how Roger, when he comes back from being a robot, he looks like Mitt Romney, the presidential candidate from like last American presidency? Mm-hmm. Yet it was like way before Mitt Romney. Who knew this film?
Well, I'm sure
can
Mitt Romney
predict the future.
I'm sure Mitt Romney was a politician at the time.
Kaitlyn's laughing because she's scared that Donald Trump will be president. I'm scared.
I'm
too.
actually terrified.
Yeah, well, you know who I think should be president? Schwarzenegger. Finally, give him the presidency.
Just do it.
Do it. Live the American dream. Aye. And then, you know, who will be his running mate?
Huh?
Who will be his running mate? Like, you know, Vice President Walken.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll be like, hey, live the dream, the American dream. I'm from Queens. Kaitlyn's gone. Lots of Walken impersonations here.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, Bartek, was there a big thing for you, plot hole, or things in this movie that really, for you, raised a question or something that you want to get some feedback about? Like, or was this movie really clear-cut for you?
Honestly, when they revealed the whole chip thing, I'd sort of forgotten about the fact that there were clearly robots at one point. So I kind of just ran with it. I suppose the thing is, they mentioned the chips when they turned after they get destroyed.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't cause any brain damage.
No, I'm sure their technology's fine. My favourite bit, actually, is a bit where Christopher Walken shows his video ad. But that's not the bit. That's not the bit.
Oh, okay.
He turns it because it's on a painting, right? It's on this giant painting, and
Oh,
then
I
he
know
dissolves it,
you're
and
talking
then Jon Lovitz just says, "It's a painting again."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. You
That
know what?
was like, oh, Jesus.
You're right. Fuck the whole brain damage question. Fuck it. Just let's move on.
No. It's not brain. It won't cause brain damage, Bartek, because the chips would just dissolve. I think is the question. No, because they're like they're bio chips. They're not just like computer chip you stick in your brain. I think like once they're running active, they can't dissolve. But I think they'll just dissolve into Nicole Kidman's brain. Hence,
Well, she doesn't have them.
Yeah,
I know that.
But every single woman except Nicole Kidman, Ryan.
No, not every single woman, because Glenn Close
Except
doesn't have it. Jeez. But some could argue she's more of a lizard person than a woman.
Oh, Jesus.
My favourite thing is, for you podcast listeners, you can't get a visual image, but every single guest that we've had on this show can sit calmly in a chair. But Kaitlyn has to kind of squat on the chair, kind of perching like a bird. And Kaitlyn, you're very short and I'm very tall. And she's now taller than me in the chair because she's kind of standing in it, basically. Can you not sit?
I'm just not comfortable sitting casually in a chair. I just gotta do my squats.
She can't. Is it technically being casual if you're not comfortable?
Ryan, you're not engaging her well enough.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
It's got so much energy.
I'll put a ring on that and then we can be engaged. Kaitlyn, will you engage me?
Oh, Ryan.
Make it so. I do.
I just like sitting on my chairs like this. I don't know, maybe it's an Asian thing.
But you're Scottish.
Oh, I didn't tell you.
Oh my lord, I couldn't tell by your complexion that you were Asian. Oh no!
Oh no!
Bartek, is there anything you're hiding from me? Are you not in fact Polish, but in fact Middle Eastern? Tell me the truth.
Ryan, all the guests that we've had on
Have not been Polish?
have been humouring you. You've really been talking to no one this whole time. There is no Bartek.
Oh no, it's all in my brain, which is damaged from chips from the Stepford program.
Oh, Jesus.
No! There's lots of things happening in this movie. Dark, black comedy, sci-fi, thriller, romantic, because it's about them repairing their marriage. Did you worry at any point that their marriage was going to fail?
Well, I think at the end, I just assumed that she would, like, get sick of it because she's such a powerhouse.
Yeah, she's powerhouse.
So I was just like, oh, well.
Here's the thing. What changed? She just was not turned into a robot, but their dynamic's still the same, right?
Who's dynamic?
JTT and Nicole.
Yeah.
Their marriage dynamic is still the same at the end. Like, she's power woman, he's meek man. But that was what was causing the stress in their relationship.
Yeah,
so nothing changed
I
from the start to the end, other than she was clearly less crazy.
Well, I suppose the whole experience made them, to bring it back to Guess Who, where the whole thing was about
Anything to bring it back to Bernie Mac comedy.
Shut up, redoing their vows. The whole conflict of
Shut up, Kaitlyn. Go on.
the whole conflict of this movie is that they go through all this shit, this really scary thriller shit, and it makes them reaffirm their love for each other because they realize what love is, what emotions are, and I don't know why this dog is being related to the robot
No, because
dog.
the dog got turned into a robot dog because it was a champion.
So the robot dog is meant to be this dog?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why do they have that
okay,
dog?
because it's a joke. It's a joke, okay? So the joke is, like, the thing is, all of these women are power women.
Yeah.
So they're all successful, so leaders, blah, blah. And then the joke is, the dog is a champion dog. Like, it's, a title-winning dog for all these dog things, right? So the joke is, even the dog got turned into a robot because it's
so
dynamic.
But my confusion is, why do they have the dog?
Because
You think that, yeah.
Why not the owner?
Like Glenn would
because
have
the owner
dog.
might be gone.
Okay, so they gave it to JTT.
Yeah, it's just a joke. It's a fun joke. But you were saying, Bartek?
Yeah,
You interrupted yourself.
I interrupted myself, but it
Shut
was
up, Bartek.
but it was something that really
Guys,
confused
please.
me, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah,
So it was
you were
worth
saying,
bringing
you're
up.
going on.
It confused me too.
I thought it
It
was just
was
hilarious
like,
because it
what?
looks nothing like the dog.
It's just like,
But they can
why?
make perfect human robots,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but not dogs.
It might have been the first one, like the tester.
Yeah, I guess.
You were right though. It does look delicious, like chocolate.
I would eat that dog.
It's a little too bright brown, but yes, the whole conflict of this movie makes them realize what love is. It reaffirms their love,
What
and I
is
think.
love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
No more.
See, you did it.
Go
Look,
on.
love is a very complicated thing.
Love is
Ryan.
blind.
Love is blind. And this movie, it gives an explanation. I haven't seen in a week, so I kind of forget what it is. But it has it, and it's the special kind of love between Nicole Kidman's character and JTT's character.
Yeah.
And it means something to them.
You know what's really weird? Does this mean when she gets turned into a robot, she has infinite money now? 'Cause she's an ATM, right?
Unless they get filled
Because
up
she
with money.
gives him $500.
I think it's specifically of the husband's bank account.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
Here's my
Because he-
$500.
Because remember, he had to use his, card.
Yeah,
He can't,
I guess.
technically, if he could rob her, she'd only have his money.
He robbed his own wife, who's a subservient robot. Stick it up, baby! And she's like, anything, master. It's like, empty your cash. Yes, man. Give me $1,000, and she does it all in singles.
God. Take it to the strippers.
Woo, woo! To the robot
$1
strippers.
bill.
To the robot strippers, and then he goes, give me all the money, and they're like, yes, master.
You know what, Ryan, though? That is a question. Like, this whole thing is like a secret Stepford experiment, but there had to be a thing where they connected these wives to the bank system and the legal tender that they hold. So, does that mean that it's a nationwide conspiracy?
Here's the thing.
Oh.
Here's the thing, though. Why does this town have local businesses? Because they're run by robots. And everything, like, all the people work are the robot women, right? So and if it's all robots, and her idea is to rule the world with robots, right?
Yeah.
Why would you need an economy?
Well, like I said...
Because everything's subservient.
Well, like I said, it's connected nationwide, and not the whole nation has these robots. So...
No, yeah, so see, her hand's burning, it doesn't even affect it, you know, but no, what I'm saying is, like, at the moment, though, it's just in this town.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I know what you're saying. But, like, in the ideas of just, you know, to remove your theorem for a second, just to be like, in this singular town, they have local businesses and they have like people running from it. Why? Is this going to be... Her idea is everything's going to be run by robots. What's the point of an economy if you're robots, technically? And she's the only human. She would be the only one who would actually need, like, in an ideal world... She would be the only human left, so why would she even need money? Why would there be a need for an economy? Couldn't she just get everything she wants from robots? Slaves? It's an interesting world that Glenn Close has set up, isn't it, Kaitlyn?
All the questions. Oh, this part made me cringe. She ran over the hedge.
Oh, wow. That made you cringe?
I was like, oh god, not the hedge.
She was thinking, what about those poor animals in the movie over the hedge? They could have been behind that hedge, and now they're all dead.
It was a perfectly... What did the hedge do to you?
It symbolizes masculinity.
I think it's just sort of like chaotic. Just, I need to know what's going on. Run over the hedge.
I'm one of these bad people that just notices how certain outfits accentuate certain things for the characters in these movies. And in this particular outfit that Nicole Kidman's wearing, it just makes the little breasts that she does have just go like way down her chest. And I'm like, poor Nicole Kidman. She's got barely anything going on. Do you need to make it look like she looks like olive oil from frickin' Popeye? Also, might I add, make a live action version of Popeye again.
Yes.
I love Popeye.
There's a live action version with Robin Williams, and make it again, and she can be olive oil.
Yes.
I don't care if she's too old, and she can be like, save me, and they use that.
Arms, yes.
And you know how in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets,
my favorite one, yes.
my favorite too, he accidentally turns that kid's arm to jelly. Like,
Yeah.
They should do that effect. Where it's like, ooh, and Christopher Walken can be himself.
He just casually strolls
I'd
in.
like to say, if Christopher Walken, I saw him in the dark and he just said, welcome, I'd be afraid.
No, you wouldn't. You love
myself.
Christopher Walken.
I would wet
You'd be
myself.
excited.
Wet
Out of
myself.
excitement.
Wet myself in a good way. Yeah, I can do Christopher Walken-esque impersonation, but you know, it's one thing I can never get. Christopher Walken isn't always just, hey, wow! He does that thing where he gets like really deep, gruff, raspy voice, and I just can't do that. I can't do it. I can't be like...
Well, that and the fact that everyone who does a Christopher Walken impression kind of exaggerates it a lot.
Well, he exaggerates it now himself, though. Like, Christopher Walken's doing impersonation of himself as his career goes on.
Yeah, but here we're in 2004.
Yeah, but this is like this is the beginning of when he just goes off the deep end with crazy movies. Like, remember, he was in Wedding Crashers.
Oh my god, he was.
And wasn't he the best?
Actually.
Next to-
Completely forgot about that.
Wedding Crashers? How could you? Isla Fisher's in that movie.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, love her. She's the one.
Again, another redheaded Australian actress. Do we only give redhead Australian actresses? Rose Byrne, Nicole Kidman, Isla Fisher. Do we only have redheads?
No, the little girl in The Nice Guys, she was blonde.
Is she though?
Is she though? I mean, Christopher Walken's
she's a
blonde in
Stepford
this
robot.
movie as well, but he's not actually blonde in real life.
Maybe all the Australian actors are Stepford robots.
Do you remember that Christopher Walken played a Bond villain? He played a James Bond villain.
When?
In Roger Moore's last movie, A View to Kill. Possibly the worst Bond title.
No, I haven't seen it.
You know why it's called A View to Kill? There's a bit where Walken's in a Zeppelin, and he's just like talking about like, yeah, this is the perfect place. it's a good view to kill. And I'm like, that's
Title.
My favourite thing about Christopher Walken in this movie is in this video.
Yeah, is it just how he salutes the other thing?
It's the salute.
Yeah.
Where he gives a little minor salute, like it's off time as well. Like whoops.
But it's also, not only is it off time, but it's also he's oh, now I'm thinking of another word that I'm forgetting. He puts a lot of effort into it.
Energy.
He puts it. He sells it. He tries to sell it.
He sells it.
He doesn't
raw.
just go like, yeah, half-hearted or whatever.
No, Christopher Walken doesn't do anything half-hearted.
No, he sold it to me.
Abracadabra. So
Oh, here we go.
here we go, guys. The final big act revelation. What was your feelings, Kaitlyn, when it was confirmed that you were technically wrong about robots?
Well,
Everything nice.
it made me think, like, I wonder what those secret ingredients are. And actually, this part
Sugar
here,
and
this is
spice and everything
terrifying.
nice.
I thought this part was so funny.
And look, ow!
Yeah.
Another subtitle quirk. Earlier when it said comfortable,
Yes.
the T wasn't italicized.
No!
What a scandal.
Shock horror.
Voila. So your feelings of the big act thing, do you feel like this
Chris
movie...
Walken just looked at the camera.
Yeah, because
He does what he wants.
Because it's a film within a film.
Yeah.
That
But
is-
he was clearly looking at Joanna at one point, then he turned to the camera and it was nice.
So, it's a painting again. Thanks.
painting
Thanks for the
again.
observation, John. So, how did you feel about this? Was it one of those twists that really got you, like Inception level, like Sixth Sense level, like you're dead. Like I could see dead people. Like, was this possibly the best cinematic twist that you've seen in your lifetime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I think this film is a work of art. I watched it and I had to go have a shower.
She
blew
got
my
that
mind.
wet from it. Jeez.
Wait a
Kaitlyn,
second.
Wow.
All the sweat
Yep.
from the
Sweat and any
experience.
other bodily fluids.
Wait a second, Kaitlyn.
Yes.
Where did you watch this film?
Okay, look, I'll be honest. I watched it while I was lying in bed. And
No.
And
that
then
just
you
made me realise how wrong
and
that
then
entire
you went
thing.
home and had a shower?
Whoa, is your bed not at home?
It was at home.
Her
you guys.
shower is considered is in another place that she calls home. Where her parents live, I imagine. Because home is where the heart is. So your heart is always in your chest, your home is always in your chest.
There we go.
So she bathed in her
Alright,
heart.
enough about her chest, alright?
Jeez,
The
right? It's
shower
not as
was
good as
in
Nicole Kidman's
my
flat
heart.
one. Jeez.
You know what? I disagree with what you were saying before about the her shirt making her look flatter. I think
It
does.
really does make it look flatter.
No, because you know why?
Like,
you
I
know-
mean, her boobs are like way down her chest. Maybe she still has boobs, but it's like she has a really flat chest.
No, but yeah, she is. But the shirt that she's wearing at the moment, the button that goes across her chest, it is it looks like it's gonna pop. Like it looks
Yeah,
like
I'm not
there's
saying that
gapage
she
there.
doesn't have boobs. I'm saying like it's squishing her boobs to where her navel is. If you look at it, boom.
Yeah, okay.
She really does have like basically, Nicole Kidman's barely got anything, but she's about to touch her belt line. Jeez, granny.
She is a tall woman. Like,
She is a
everything would be
fiercely
stretched
tall.
Out,
Is
you
that
know.
how it works?
I don't know. I would assume
this
so.
Is this the logic of freaking Spy Kids?
Wait. This is the part where she sees
She has
herself.
weird knees.
She sees herself, but she's got no eyes and no hair. And this is where the whole question comes from.
Yeah, but
Like, why?
so how did you feel about the twist going into it blind, Bartek? Did you feel like it was a great cinematic twist? Did you feel shocked, compelled? What was your emotional reaction?
Well, first of all, I just like the whole thing of, can they feel love? And Christopher Walken says, well, have a look at this. And there are scary eyes.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
like, but do they? It's like, can they say love in 57 languages?
Was it 57 or 58?
58. It was like, but do they mean it?
Alright. And to answer your question, did I like the twist? It was a fantastic twist, but I was more surprised at the idea, of the fact that, of the behavioral change of the men. Because throughout
Yeah.
the movie, I somehow missed the whole inferiority thing for most of the men. Because, they're not...
Really, not
too-
when they were clicking their fingers asking for scotch or making their wives
Oh, I
literal
hate that.
ATMs.
Well,
Don't fucking
no,
look at me.
Caitlyn, calm down.
Okay.
It was the whole idea of like they're not like they're not like main characters. They're like they're characters for these kind of scenes here.
Yeah.
And where was I going with this? I was saying that they were shown to be serious for most of it, and then when they revealed that they're pansies, and then they kind of like bitching a lot at Joanna when she was like calling them out on them being pathetic. It was more that attitude that surprised me.
But it's not really a shock, though, because look at...
Well, it's not a shock, but it surprised me a bit more.
Did you think that she got turned into a robot?
No.
I totally did. I was like, I fucking knew it. That little bitch.
I didn't.
Turned her into a robot?
When I messaged Kaitlyn to come on this show and do this episode, you were like, I haven't seen this before. And Facebook has that amazing little feature where you can send like a GIF or a GIF to people, and the only one I could find was Nicole Kidman pushing a shopping trolley. And I was like, I'll send that, I guess.
The reason why I didn't...
And I was like, okay.
The reason...
And you're like, I guess that's the movie.
The reason why I didn't believe that she was a robot is because this scene already established something that she's different. She doesn't say any character's name.
That's a good...
Oh my god.
Alright, stay in your seat.
Snap!
Okay,
No,
I'm
actually,
sitting back down.
goodbye. It's like it
I'm
leaves.
out. I'm done.
That's it. I'm out. You know what's really bad? They showed what Nicole Kidman looks like bald. She has a big enough forehead already.
Oh god.
Don't need
Ryan.
to show that.
Big forehead life. Represent.
Big forehead life.
Also,
That's
she
it.
did. Also, she did have a bit of a smirk in that shot.
Smirkarella.
something
More in the eyebrows than
like
the
a
smile.
little
She is-
secret.
She has little eyebrows, so the smirk must have been really
Yeah,
intense
but they were
for you to see.
But they were angled downwards, like kind of like a
like,
frowning.
yeah.
Like a super
So it's like a, I know something that you don't.
Yes.
I know something you don't know.
That's terrifying. Stop that.
You want me to stop? Someone's being naughty.
Oh god. Can I apologise to everyone that's listening?
No, I apologize for nothing other than that man's wearing an amazing tartan outfit. Did you see that?
I love it. Yeah.
I mean, I wish we all... Look, I'm not telling you that Kaitlyn and Bartek are not wearing tartan outfits, but you know me, I am. Always.
Oh, freaking love
Kaitlyn's
it.
wearing a jumper with oranges, strawberries, grapes, and bananas, and are those avocados or just upside down green love hearts?
I would think that they're pears.
You can say just fruit, Ryan.
Pears.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna get the specific fruit. You can't just say fruits, because it could be like, oh, well, is she wearing, like, tomatoes on there? No.
Does anyone actually consider tomato a fruit though?
Everyone.
Like it is, but is it though?
Yes. It's like saying broccoli's vegetables. What?
Of course they're okay.
Peanuts are legumes. Yeah, you know. Peppy legumes. Yeah.
Oh, Bartek, you have to live with him.
He doesn't
I don't
live
live
with
here.
me.
Oh, you don't? Oh.
No, I live with my mother.
Bartek lives with his mother, listeners. Bartek's mum is, of course,
Oh.
Polish. But like me, she does not speak Polish either. Bartek learnt Polish from being.
From
Am I
being.
right? Yeah, just being.
I wish
not,
I had that.
Not being. Can you speak other languages?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you speak Scottish?
no. I can speak
Asian?
a little amount of Thai and a tiny amount of Croatian.
What? Croatian?
Yeah, my stepdad's Crow.
That's Slavic.
Well,
Yeah.
can you translate this movie in either one of those languages for us?
Oh god, please don't make me do that.
Stepford?
Ryan, have you learnt nothing about translations from me being on this show?
Nope. I've learnt nothing.
Bartek, why
I've
don't you
learnt-
take the reins? You can.
He can't speak Thai or Croatian.
No, but he knows Polish. I don't know enough Thai or Croatian to give you a review.
I didn't
in
say
those languages.
review. I just said the title of the movie.
Ah.
The Stepford Wives. What's that in
You didn't say
Croatian?
the title.
No, I didn't
What
catch
did I
that.
say?
You just said, can you translate this movie?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's like the movie title. Come on, guys.
the movie title.
Click, click, click. Caitlyn hates
Ryan,
that.
Ryan, look.
Nah.
1 out of 3 people knew what you were talking about, and
And
it was you.
I was...
And it was you.
And considering the two people that are here don't exist, I'm the
No,
one who No, you
Caitlyn
said...
exists. I don't.
No, you said... It was only
I said
me.
I don't exist.
Fine, but he does live here.
But
If he doesn't exist and he's part of my mind, technically Bartek does live here. So guess who's wrong, Bartek? Jeez, me, technically, because I
do I even
Ryan.
exist? What is the?
It's good that you're trying to defend yourself.
No. Fun fact. He entered the code 1956. That's when this book was written.
Oh,
And
really?
it's also the code to unlock his door in that last previous scene.
That's why I said the code he used was 1956.
And it's the...
And here
little
we get
tiny
some images of the female form.
Are they all the same?
Yes, of course. I
All
don't
women
think
are the same.
all women are the same. All of them
Exactly
are
the same.
Croatian,
Which-
Thai-speaking Scottish women.
Which is a clever thing, because aren't all the men in this movie the same, apart
No.
from Christopher Walken and JTT?
No,
Yeah.
they're all completely different. Jon
Yeah.
Lovitz is completely
Ryan,
different.
1 out of 3 people agree with you, and it's you.
I agree with Bartek. I think they're all a
Well,
bunch
1 out of 3 people voted for Hitler, and one of them wasn't me, so, you know...
I don't know, Ryan. In the history, 1 out of 3 people, you tend to be the one person.
But I'm the one who's against Hitler, you're the one who's for it.
You said that 1 in 3 people voted for Hitler.
Yep.
Therefore, you'd be the one because you're always the
I'd
one
be
in
the
3.
one out. You're like 1 in 3 people.
Also, 3 people didn't vote for Hitler. Is that what you meant to say? You said the
no.
opposite by accident?
Alright, let's play nice.
Never.
No, okay.
Get out, Kaitlyn.
I'm leaving. I'm out.
As you established,
Kaitlyn's in, she's out, she's up, she's down, she's right when she's wrong.
You know what that reminds me of? That Venga Boy song. Up and down.
I was doing Katy Perry, but
Oh,
alright.
right.
Katy Perry. Oh, look at that suit. Sorry. Could you imagine a remake of this where Katy Perry is Bette Midler and Lady Gaga is Glenn Close, and let's just for fun have Demi Lovato as Nicole Kidman? It would be an interesting movie if you
It would
placed
be.
these, and JTT would be.
Justin Timberlake.
I was gonna say Kanye West.
Oh my god, yes.
He's crazy.
I don't know, maybe
It'd be a completely different ending, I tell you what.
maybe
Yeah.
Glenn Close's character should be played by like Chloe Moretz.
No, we're doing singers. Is it now Chloe Moretz or it used to be Chloe Grace Moretz? Who knows?
Oh, I love her.
She's alright.
Can I just point out how ridiculous this scene is?
What do you mean? It's great.
It's-
It reminds me of the end of Kingsman: The Secret Service, where people's heads explode
The chips all explode, and they do this dramatic,
because their
Jazz
robot
hands.
because their robot bodies are reacting.
Yeah, but
And I like how he knows. He's like, "Uh-oh," and she's like, "Oh, Herbert." She's gonna rip him a new vagina.
it's gonna be amazing.
Yep, and then he's gonna go shopping. Which it sounds
With
funny,
the new,
but it's
with
true.
the new badge, guys.
It's because it's a comedy. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't get over this dramatic, jazz hands,
I kind of
head throwback.
What am I wearing? Like that's his first question. Not you betrayed me.
one thing that I kind of wish is after this whole thing is resolved, freaking Roberta, Bobby, she was a character in this movie, but after she turns back normal, she doesn't really appear in it much.
I know.
Yeah, she
it's
does.
sad. No.
She comes back at the end.
She appears in like the Larry
King.
She appears there, but I feel like
Is Larry King related to Martin Luther Jr.?
I don't know.
Good answer.
when you say Martin
Sorry,
Luther
I'm just gonna
Jr.,
fan that away.
Like
Are you talking about like the junior of the German guy or Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah, King.
Okay.
That's why I said King. Like, is Larry
You didn't
King?
say King.
Because it was implied.
Ryan.
3 out of 1 people
Everyone's
didn't understand
reaction.
No, I understood you, I'll confess, but come on. There was a Martin Luther in this movie.
Control your wives.
I love how easily destructible those remotes
Well,
are.
because they're robots.
Oh, right, their bodies.
There
Their
was
bodies are rock hard robots.
They're durable enough for the weak men. to
Yeah,
not
I like
destroy.
how she is still playing it, and then she's like, "Your smile and your aftershave," and I realized I'm Nicole Kidman.
And she did a callback
Yeah.
I can do
to the crazy bit.
better. And then
The Apple
he's just like,
conference.
I'm not having any of it. I'm just gonna smack Matthew
Look at him
Broderick.
standing there.
he looks like
Ryan, you
he
mixed
looks-
up the Simbas again.
Oh, sorry. He looks like Simba as a kid standing up on his hind legs, trying
Yeah.
to be a man.
Which even that's not very
And
tall.
Christopher Walken is Mufasa, and he's like, I gotta jump.
Oh, God.
I've gotta do it. Gotta be king, the circle of life. Gotta beat him to death. For no reason other than he must be beaten. Do you like how he just accepts it? He's like, that's a shame. And then he's like, I'm gonna kill you now. I love how flippant he is when he wants to hurt people, Christopher Walken. You just see in his eyes, he's just like, I'm bothered, Might as well do it.
It's cold-blooded.
Can you imagine a movie where there is a moral dilemma? I love how he does his hand acting, where he's like, he always does that when he gets super angry, like, as an actor. He just, like, slowly reaches his hands out, and he does, like, a roar. He's just like, why?
No, not even kidding, actually, though.
That's actually what he does.
Yeah.
You act, Kaitlyn, sometimes, rarely.
Yeah, rarely, but I've done a
Do you
teensy
roar?
bit. It depends on what I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
This was a twist that really shocked me.
No, you know what?
Literally,
I saw
because
this coming.
there's sparks coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this one coming, to be honest.
Did you?
Yeah, I was
In
just
bed?
like...
Hey!
Hey!
Hey, Fonzie.
No, but I was like, I don't know. I think it got to some point in the movie where I was like, I reckon that bitch right there,
Is
she's
the only
the
human.
evil one. Yeah, because
Because
she's
she
the
has
only,
human reactions to
Yeah,
things.
not
she stands out.
She's not, out of all the people in the Stepford Wives, she's the only non-human that lives amongst...
Robot.
Oh, no, sorry, she is the only human. And I'm like, why wouldn't the man who runs this experiment turn his own wife into the perfect wife?
Because maybe they're both in on it. Maybe they both want this society.
Yeah. I kind of thought that too, but on the other hand, all of the women who are controlled by the chips, they look like they simply are being that type of woman, whereas she really feels like she's really trying to be that woman. Like, and like, you're right, Ryan, she does have those human reactions, like she's horrified at some things, whereas the other one's just kind of like...
Smile.
Oh.
Yeah,
Smile.
She screams, she laughs, she cries. Here's something very interesting. I've got to ask you. I thought you guys weren't going to ask this. She simply says it here in a throwaway line, but why didn't she just convert the men and the women too? And her problem is she has a problem with men. But she
just wants
seemingly
them to
has
be
more
men.
of a problem with women because she targets them first. Why doesn't she just turn everyone into robots?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't a character question her?
Yeah, it's about to happen. It's like she goes, but you were married to a robot, and Nicole Kidman says, and she says flippantly, they were next.
Yeah,
that's
they
right.
were next.
But why?
Why
What
did
does
she
that
start
mean?
with the men, you mean?
Yeah, but why didn't she start with the men if she truly hated them? But also, why didn't she just do both of them? She has enough technology to do this. She has the means, so why didn't she just convert both of them at the same time and create this perfect society? If you have, like, this world that you want to be controlled, why would you have half of your population be people that aren't controlled?
Well, I suppose the logic would be that she wants to gain the men's trust. Like, you know, get them these women that they really like, so they're like, yeah, let's stay around here. And, you know, this guy leading us, this Christopher Walken fellow, he's great. And when the next part comes, she can easily dispose, or as the retcon of this movie is, put chips in them.
Yeah, I just find it very confusing. I think that's one of the things with the poor the edited version of this. I would really kill for a director's cut version of this movie. It could be like Blade Runner, where Blade Runner's theatrical cinematic release isn't liked. It wasn't very good. And then the director's cut. But this would be an interesting one where this movie's great. It's one of the best. And its director's cut could make this appreciated.
Yeah.
Because it's already a masterpiece, but it's unappreciated. I think that director's cut could make this a real contender for films that we could talk about with generations to come.
Absolutely.
Like people, like Kaitlyn, you could look at your spouse and then your future children and be like, listen here, little Ryan, because you'd name them after me.
Right, of course.
And little Bartek, who's
Yeah.
a part of Ryan's imagination anyway, so... You love Stepford Wives, don't you? And they would say with the little chips in their brain, yes, mother, and then spit out single dollar bills.
$1 bill, y'all. You know what I was just thinking
You're
earlier
insane.
on?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, how would they have gotten all of those wives to get into the wife making machine?
Because they got the men. They converted, like, what they did was, it's like what happened with Matthew Broderick here.
Wrong Simba again,
Simba!
Ryan.
JTT, which is they give the men this lavish lifestyle, blah, 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 and then slowly, and I think they purposely chose men who are dissatisfied, who are meek males with power-hungry wives. So they are already in the position to want to change. So they will be easily swayed. Hence, Jon Lovitz is easily swayed. But they made the wrong mistake with JTT for this one because he loves his wife. Yeah. All of them love their wives, but they want to be the dominant in the relationship.
But like I get that, but like would they have drugged their wives and then thrown them in the machine?
Yeah, probably.
Like would the wives have gone, yeah, I'll do that.
Let's not forget Christopher Walken is a robot, so he could have physically grabbed them with superior with superior strength of robot strength and just shoved them in there if it went wrong, because he seemed like he was the he had that attitude where you don't want to fuck with him. He was like the king of the town, right?
Yeah.
And I think the men, like, he was the king of these men because he was, even though he's a robot, he's like the only one that is the idealistic man.
Well,
while
yeah,
these people
meant
are
to be a perfect man.
Yeah, he's a perfect man. That's what I mean. Like
to one woman, yes. But yeah,
no,
man.
but like not just one woman, but the idea of society. Like he is idealistically the perfect man, where he drinks scotch and he
can dance
in
the waltz.
He can dance the waltz. He's in charge. He's domineering.
Yes, but in the world of this movie, that's to his wife.
Yeah, especially to his wife. But like in general in society, the idea of being the man is to be kind of rugged yet charming, to be Humphrey Bogart yet Clark Gable, to be, what I mean? Like, to be all of these impossible things as women do too. Like, you have to be
like
somehow
Powers,
tall and skinny, yet have big boobs and have perfect hair, and yet we have to yet have, all this rugged stuff. It's kind of interesting. Now beards are coming in for men. It's all hip and happening, yet at the same time, there's nothing wrong with a chiseled jaw. Where did we end the misogyny, ladies and gentlemen?
Will it ever?
Misogyny or misandry?
Both. Where does the patriarchy and the matriarchy meet? Help us all.
At the wedding altar.
So the movie has finally ended. It ended with the dark twist that men are the servants to the women.
They're doing the shopping now.
There's a lot of times,
except
might I add,
Walken.
JTT's character is named Walter, which I really want to bring up because we did an episode on the movie Zathura where a 13, 14-year-old boy was called Walter, and we had a big thing about no kid is named Walter. Middle-aged.
I love the name Walter.
Yeah, but no kid is named Walter. Middle-aged, pudgy white men are called Walter. And what was the name of his character in this movie? Walter. Perfect. Like, he is the embodiment of what a person called Walter is. Just saying.
Sorry to all the Walters out there.
Walters were never kids.
Was he middle-aged in this movie?
Yeah, they're supposed to be like, he's 40-something. Like, he's in that middle-aged
like
area.
Chubby cheeks.
Yeah, it's chubby cheeks, like...
Especially in the painting. Do you see his cheeks in the painting?
Oh, but...
Yeah, so like
Especially.
idealistically they're middle-aged because they're past their 30s. They've got kids. They're moving to a white picket fence. He's quit his. He has no job. Like, it adds everything. Like, all of them are middle-aged people. Like, except for the women and possibly younger, because that's how it usually works. Is in relationships, men are usually older than the women, or they're at least same age. Usually,
right.
percentage-wise.
Yes.
And if you're an older woman dating a younger man, you're a cougar.
Bette Midler,
There's nothing wrong
not
with
as
that.
much, I
Look,
guess.
there's nothing wrong.
Huh?
Bette Midler looked a bit older.
She is older. Did you catch that bit where he's like, I don't want to be the wind beneath your wings? It's like, oh, get it? Bette Midler's in this. Yeah. So the movie is over. It is time for our final kind of thoughts, a review and a rating out of whatever we choose. I think I'm going to go first. Bartek, do you mind?
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Now, Bartek is very, he's like putty. He gets very influenced by who speaks before him. So
I love Bartek.
I love me.
Oh,
which he is
1 out of 3 people love you, Ryan.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're me, doesn't that mean 2 out of 3?
I'm not you. I'm just your figment of your imagination.
But that means you're part of me.
It doesn't mean I agree with you.
But I'm
wait,
telling you that she loves you, meaning
Ryan,
she loves
1
me.
out of 3 people are saying that, and it's you.
Wait, but if I can see and hear Bartek, does that mean I am also a
No, it
part
just
of your
means that you're
imagination?
schizophrenic.
Oh, right, of course.
No, you're just humouring Ryan.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go first. Stepford Wives, an emotional classic. It is probably one of the most intriguing movies we've done on this show. It is a nail-biting one. It is suspenseful. It is thrilling. And at the end of the day, it is still a comedy. I think the strengths of the movie are the ideas. It is a movie with great ideas, and I know it's from a previous movie and from a book, but that doesn't disparage the thing that this movie still has wonderful ideas and wonderful themes underneath. The gender, the battle of the different genders, and the underlying discriminatory nature of the American way. The American dream is at the expense of women, is the expense of black people, at the expense of homosexuals, at the expense of anyone who isn't the perfect idea of the American society, which is unfortunately everyone. No one exists in the world that Stepford Wives creates, and that is a part of the beauty, because Stepford doesn't exist. It is an idea of an idea of an idea of an idea of an idealized world, and I think the black humor really nails that. It nails this failed, broken system. It is really spot on. And Frank Oz, although he is not in love with this movie, and Nicole Kidman and all these people, I think they should look back and think to themselves, you know what? This isn't bad. It isn't bad. In fact, it's even better. This is a movie that people have just swept under the rug, but I think it needs to be brought back into the public eye and given a second look, especially at the current landscape of cinema. We don't get movies like The Stepford Wives, big release movies like The Stepford Wives coming out now. You would be very lucky if you get a movie like Stepford Wives with the A-grade actors that Stepford Wives has now. I just don't think it would happen. That is a part of the majesty and beauty of this movie. The actors all nail it. They all nail it. If I had to give it a rating, Kaitlyn, if I had to give it a rating, Bartek, if I had to give it a rating, I would say 1 out of 3 people enjoy this movie. You happy with that?
Oh, God.
Well, yeah, 1 out of 3, that would make it unappreciated, and that's what it is.
Kaitlyn, let's hear from you. If you had to give it a quick little review and a rating out of whatever you feel.
Look, I came into this thinking, I had no idea what I was thinking. I'm just gonna watch this fucking movie, and let's see how we go. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It moved me. It was thrilling. It was captivating. I'm going to also give it 1 out of 3.
You know what? When you said it moved me, I thought it physically moved her from her bed to the shower.
Well, from her bed to her home.
Which has a shower.
In my heart.
What about you, Bartek? Let's hear what you have to say.
Okay. Look, this is definitely a movie with, depending on who you ask, flaws. If you were to ask a lot of the people associated to the production, they would say, yeah, this is a flawed film.
Continue.
That was meant to be funny, but thank you for laughing.
I love that. Anyway, continue. Please.
Okay. So I was saying, it is a flawed film according to the people that made this film. And I will admit, I would like to see Frank Oz's ideal version of this film, because
Yes.
definitely that would be an appreciated masterpiece.
Yeah.
A fantastic one, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And he's a great storyteller.
Yes. But like you said, Ryan, what we do have in front of us is a very fascinating film. You know, the black comedy thriller with elements of sci-fi and a very satirical nature about it. Definitely satirical to the many thriller-type films such as Rosemary's Baby, as I've said, and while we haven't even seen it, the original Stepford Wives, and maybe even the novels, which apparently there are multiple.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Apparently,
I need to get on that. All right.
Yeah,
Quick.
learn about the sex-crazed women robots.
I'd love to hear. I'm not
Maybe
doing
like
that.
maybe
Sounds
like
crazy.
fembots, like from Austin Powers.
Oh my
I
God.
thought of Futurama when you said fembots.
It reminds me of like. Have you guys seen Rick and Morty?
Yes, of course.
I haven't.
There's one episode where there are these. You know that one, yeah? The sex robots. Bartek, get on it. Everybody, get on Rick and Morty.
Not
All right.
physically on them, but like on the show, watching it. So Bartek, you were saying?
Yeah. This movie, it does contain a lot of good stuff,
Yes.
Ryan and Kaitlyn and me.
Yeah. 1 out of 3 things are good. Yeah, go on.
1 out of 3 things are good, and it's not Ryan. That's mean. 3 out of 3 things are good, and it's all 3 of us. I love this movie. I think Jonathan Taylor Thomas did a great job as Simba and as Walter in this movie.
Boom.
I think that
Just a special little review for The Lion King is thrown in. Like, he did a great job as Simba. Check it out. And he's good at this.
Yes.
Bette Midler, Jon Lovitz, Nicole Kidman, Christopher Walken, Glenn Close,
Faith Hill.
the black woman, they all did great jobs.
I love
Wait,
how
hold on.
you just chucked in Faith Hill as well. Like,
Wait, sorry, what was the name of the actor who played Roger?
Oh, I don't know his name. He's also called Roger, though. The actor's name is
no
Roger.
way.
Oh,
That's
is it-
so convenient?
In the credits when it was listening to songs, one of them was written by someone named Roger.
No.
Couldn't have
That's
been
beautiful.
him.
No. But you were saying, if you had...
Him too. I love him too. I just think this is a great film, and even though it is not the ideal, it came out great. We genuinely liked this movie.
Yeah.
We loved it.
It's probably one of the most enjoyable, suspense-filled, thought-provoking films we've done.
Yeah, and really, I'm at a loss for words because you really nailed it in your review, and
I'm pretty good.
I don't want to say
Like putty.
I don't want to say that I just copied your review because I did say my own things, but
He said words out of his
I
mouth that come
said
from my
words.
brain.
I said words that had letters in it and making you stand up again, Kaitlyn.
If you had
Sorry,
to give it
I
a
was
review,
sitting on my
if you had to
feet
give it
and
a
I got
rating,
like
if you
90.
had to give it a rating,
I'll finish with the review and I'll give it my rating now. And this is another one where I just have to look straight into my heart and say what it is that I feel. Because I didn't guess who and I just said I give it a yes. But I'll give it more than a yes. I give the Stepford Wives 2004 the rating of...
you can't see it, but he's waving his arms.
He's dancing.
Women love it. Men need it. Men are it. Women is it.
Oh, cool. You know what really
Yes!
was weird? I really thought that... Whoa. I really thought that your rating was going to be, when you said, women love it, I thought it was going to be like a pun on Jon Lovitz, where it's just like, women love it, or they leave it.
No, my rating was a commentary on
Can
genders.
I just say, Bartek brought something up. This movie has many flaws, but you know what else it has? Walls. And those walls have a roof. This movie is a perfect house. Right.
Oh, what the fuck?
And you know what that house has? A door. And that door leads you into this magical house. Alright, now these are reviews from another universe.
Okay.
These reviews I get from IMDb, and I have patently like to say that I find them to be from another dimension. Most of these reviews that I read, not just in this, but in other episodes, it's like people have been in a universe where this movie was so amazing that they just have no way of expressing it other than just jumbling together non-coherent sentences and words.
like my rating.
Like your rating. Exactly. So this first one's from 2005, and it's a 9-star review.
Woo.
It's called Definitely Not As Bad as Everyone Says It Is. This is what they have to say. I really don't understand why everyone thought this movie was horrible. What was wrong with it? It had a good plot. No one was horrible at their part, and it was funny. It was also artfully done, and everything in it was beautiful. In my opinion, it's underrated. Whoever played the gay guy was great. And in my opinion, and Bette Midler did a great job too. I thought those two were the funniest. Sure, there really was no need for a remake, but the makers did a great job. And then this is part of, it's all one sentence, but the makers did a great job. Anyway? I put a question mark there. They're not too sure. They're not too sure of that. I like how they made the remake into a comedy instead of a horror film like the original. However, I thought the ending was weak and corny. Overall, this movie does not live up to its reputation as a grave mistake. It's one of the few black comedies that I thought was hilarious and doesn't manage to come across as too bizarre for viewing. While the original one satirized women's stereotypes in a rather dark way, this one poked fun at it. A thoroughly underrated must-see. I love how they were just like, the first one satirized, this one poked fun. Like, there's a difference between those two things.
I'd like to make a recommendation to that reviewer right there. He mentioned whoever played the gay guy. There's a website out there called IMDb. You can look it up there.
Which you wrote on. This one's from...
That's the joke, Ryan.
This one's from... 1 out of 3 people got that joke. No, this is good until the end. See the original. No star rating.
Oh, wow.
Now, they start with... This review may contain spoilers, so watch out. And then, spoilers herein. I was against the idea of a remake from the beginning, but I figured not enough people have or are ever going to see the original, although hopefully now some might. So the idea of a remake sounded pretty fresh to me. Plus, the original worked so well as being scary and not funny, but when I saw that it would be more comedy, I thought this could really give them a lot to work with. More plot lines, more characters. They did change it in style and tone and had an adequate movie there. Until the last 20 minutes. They put that in all caps.
Oh no.
All I want to say else about this remake is that it should have ended with the shopping cart scene, implying that yes, Kidman was changed into a robot, or implanted, whatever the film wants to jump to. Saying basically that yes, some men still feel threatened by powerful and successful women, but the difference or silver lining is that it was her choice. I mean, she could have run or resisted, but that scene where she and Matthew, I don't know who he is, are being lowered could have been her realizing that she would rather be a Stepford wife to her husband than to live without him. Then the shopping cart scene. And then the end! That would have been such a great film. Instead, you get 20 minutes of pure crapola that although includes Glenn Close, is not bad because of her. She's by far the best performance here, though Kidman is good. Glenn Close has never looked better. I love how they just have to include her look. Overall, I'm going to have to say watch the original, especially if you've already sat through this one. You'll need the original to redeem your experience. Peace, Estelle.
Peace out. You know what? That one actually made me want to watch the original.
Yeah. Not this movie.
But yeah, but you know what though? Like they go, oh, Glenn is amazing in the last 20 minutes.
She looked amazing.
But look,
did you not see her?
That death scene?
Did you not see her jump into the air? Did you not see her holding Christopher Walken's robotic head in her hands as she lay dying?
Look, I'm not gonna lie, it made me giggle.
The thing just before that, she got electrocuted. She had the energy to grab the head. Then she died.
Yeah, so this next one is from 2004, so the movie just came out when this was written.
Laid on us.
Robotic is the title.
Nice.
Spoilers herein. Yeah, they also wrote that. A doubly folded movie, but that's the only mild interesting thing about this, other than Nicole's name on the marquee. The first fold was the intended one. We all live in our own movies. This movie metaphorically portrays one of those. Could have been a really interesting fabric, except for the unintended second fold. This is about the almost inevitable draw toward the robotic. And it is robotic. You would have to be
sweet Jesus.
Hold on. You would have to be Miss Piggy to miss that.
Oh, God.
Hold on. We're near the end. Ted's evaluation, 1 of 3. You can find something better to do with this part of your life.
I love how it said 1 of 3 as well.
So that's one review.
The fabric of it.
Yep, the double folded. No,
First
this
fold.
one is 8 stars. No, 7 stars. The darker, the better. Note, I did not see the 1975 version, which I've heard is much better.
Oh, he'll piss off that second last review we did.
I took 3 13-year-olds to see this and had no expectations when entering the theater.
Excellent start to the review.
In fact, I didn't know what the movie was about. That it had Matthew Broderick, no, it had Jonathan Taylor Thomas, get it right, and Christopher Walken, and that always equals a good time. You're damn right it does. I am a huge fan of dark comedies and would label this a soft dark comedy, a light comedy? Ha ha. That is the easy way to watch. No, that is easy. That is easy to watch and has an organized feel. There is a creepy and eerie edge throughout the film, and I often wondered whether I should be laughing or I should be feeling sorry for the characters. I love that feeling. I always feel like a jerk in the theater, though. And yes, I usually laugh instead. Overall, I kind of liked it, and I thought there was something to it. I just don't know what. I will say it could have been a lot darker, and I plan on checking out the other version. And then they have their own little review at the end.
Nice.
Snack attack for this. Snack attack for this film. The freshly baked cupcakes and an apple. At least that's what I felt like eating during this one. In brackets, check out my other reviews for snack attack suggestions.
I really want to be friends with this person. Is this person out there? Are you alive?
In 2004 they were.
Can you hit me up?
So this is the last one.
Soft dark comedy.
This is the last one.
Snack attack.
This is the last one. It's 7 stars, and I love people like the 13-year-old one who include their life story.
Yeah. Oh,
This is 7 stars.
Yes.
What do you want? Egg in your beer?
Yes.
Written in 2015. This movie is just an excuse for a bunch of jokes about sexism, which is exactly what we wanted. The jokes are good, and the humor. Oh, this. The jokes are good, and the humor is never categorical. The characters, yeah.
Is that a made up word?
No, it's in a musical. It's in freaking
Okay.
Come on.
Is it in 1 out of 3 musicals?
No, it's in Pirates of Penzance.
Okay.
The characters are fairly well drawn, though hardly complex. On the whole, it is about average for a genre, the cutesy remake which tends to be horrible. If you have any ideas about how you would do a new Stepford Wives, you will probably be disappointed and annoyed. There's relatively little social commentary or suspense. In fact, the only suspenseful scene is just funny. The hows and whats of what the ladies are isn't really addressed much, in part because it would be more disturbing than this movie wants to be. On the other hand, it never breaks character, so you can just cruise comfortably to the end, laughing every minute or so. As a professional horticulturalist...
Oh, yeah.
As a professional horticulturalist, I must mention the plantings and flower arrangements. The orchards were just becoming available at grocery stores, and the gladiolus in the plantings must have been hand placed in some cases, because they just don't grow in graceful sprays. Someone did an awesome job.
Oh,
And that's the end of the reviews.
what a beautiful
Ryan,
review.
as a
That's so nice.
horticulturalist, I think it's pronounced orchid.
Orchid?
Yeah.
Orchids.
What did I say?
Orchard.
Orchids.
No!
Oh, no.
Orchids are different things.
Yeah. Oh, what a lovely review. Just
As a professional
staring at all the
horticulturalist,
flowers.
they did a good job.
This
I like
is
how 2 people had
fantastic.
the 3 people had different things to rate on. Like one of them's like, snack attack. There's good food in this one. It made me want to eat. And then one of them was like, 1 of 3. And then the other one was just like, as a professional horticulturalist.
That's a great bush.
That's a great orchid.
Those 3 should star in a sitcom together.
They
They should.
You think? I think this movie brings a lot of emotions and a lot of ideas that we just can't handle. And I think that's a part of why nobody really talks about this film. And I think, we've done our best on this podcast to try and address the issues. But look, our podcast, even though it is quite influential and good, look, we can't change the world, nor can this film, as much as we would like. Although we have addressed the sexism and the patriarchy and the homophobia, I would like to think at the end of the day that you listeners will come out of this smarter, better, and be like, the film and the themes and the things that these guys addressed make me want to not be sexist anymore. Makes me not want to be homophobic, and makes me want to know more about being Scottish, Croatian, and Thai.
Yeah, better.
And a woman, so, tick, tick, tick.
And better at conspiracy theories.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Is there anything before we wrap up, guys, that you want to mention or talk about?
Kaitlyn?
Just watch the film, you guys. It blew my mind.
And her mind does not get easily blown.
No.
Like other things.
Like leaves in the air.
Like the wind beneath her wings.
I was just about to say that. Oh, man.
Bartek, is there anything from you, my fellow?
Ryan, you did good this episode. You did
Thanks. I need his approval.
The imaginary friend. You guys, I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem,
Thank you for coming
Caitlin.
on.
It's been wonderful.
It's a pleasure.
You guys have been amazing, in this, and I've been pretty amazing, but you listening people have been pretty amazing yourself. And, even if 1 out of 3 of you share this, that means there's one more listener out there. And that's what we really want at the end of the day, is for you to hear the majesty of what we have to say about these beautiful films.
Yep, and those 2 people that don't listen, they're losing out.
Yeah.
The one.
Fuck you. Those 2 people.
Fuck those guys.
Until next time, guys, remember you have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful, superb Stepford Wives. And remember to be kind to each other.
Absolutely.
Is that where you're gonna do your murder smile?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a murder smile. That's the thing.
The Stepford murder smile, yeah. There it is.
Man, I can't believe that you believed me when I said that I'm funny imagination. You kid, I'm funny.
I've never to pee forever. I'm gonna go.
And he's gone.